Derrick Henry. What a big turn of events, and the Lions have got it now.
Goff up under center. Montgomery the single back. Goff fakes to him, wants to throw, does downfield, wants Amon-Ra. Got him, made the catch inside the 40. It's a first down, but there's a flag down as well. It's a hold against Baltimore. That is huge. Center, single back is Gibbs. Goff turn, gives it to Jameer, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. That's the way you make a statement on the road on Monday night to start a football game, straight down the field to the end zone. It is 2nd and goal from the 1. Goff out of the gun, hands it to Montgomery, tries the left side, did not get in. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. They say he did get in. Late call. There it is. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A 4th down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run-pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big-time stop by that defense. Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Al-Quadin Mohammed got him. Goff out of the gun. Montgomery to his right. Jared's got it back and looking, throwing right side. Wants Amon-Ra. End zone. Got it. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. What a delivery that time by Goff, where only Amon-Ra with those late hands could pull it in. And the Lions are an extra point away from drawing even once again here in Baltimore. Jackson fakes the give to Henry, wants to throw, steps up, gonna get hit, gonna get spun down again. That's another sack by that Lions defense. That is Al-Quadin Mohammed for the 2nd time tonight. 96, that is big, man. Goff up under center, turns, gives, Amon-Ra flips it out to Gibbs. He's in the house, baby. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, that is beautiful. Goff hands it to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra flips it to Gibbs, and the Lions have got the lead back. From the Lion 19, Jackson out of the gun. He's got it, wants to throw. Jackson looking, stepping up. Now he's going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back outside the 20-yard line. That football came out, but they're going to say he was down. That is another big play by that Lions defense. Trevor Nowaski with the sack. There's the snap. Jackson back. Jackson looking. Jackson stepping up, rolling to his right, being chased. Still looking. Now he's going to get hit, going down. Taken down again by that Lions defense. Derek Barnes, I see you, 55. That's a big-time play. The Lions stripped it away from Derrick Henry. What a...
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show. It is Thursday. My name is Will Rock. Of course, I'm the host of Rockhound Detroit Lions and the Rise and Grind Morning Show, and I'm so happy to have you all with me today. Massive night yesterday. We released what I consider to be some pretty damning information about what took place in the Chiefs game. We're going to try to move on from it today. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people talking about it. I have a couple more things that I wanted to add to it that I forgot to add to it during yesterday's premiere. But what a huge night, man. Over 400 subscribers off of that video alone. So there's a lot of people that didn't know we exist, but they know we exist now. And I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who subscribed, who shared and sharing. I found some new analytics after updating the YouTube app. By the way, YouTube is having a major issue yesterday with some sort of a glitch. If you're having trouble this morning at all, delete the app, reinstall the app or update the app. I just found it best to uninstall, reinstall, and you should be good to go. Reset your phone if you're watching from a phone. Obviously, if you're on a PC or a laptop, I mean, it is what it is. Just try to update the app if you can. So this morning, I want to get into, there's, of course, Detroit Lions news and rumors we're going to get into today, but Brian Branch, I'll touch on that for a moment. Like I said, I'm going to dive back in to that play just one more time. Just a couple of notes that I wanted to add to it. Detroit Lions add another safety, and I was ear to ear smiling yesterday when I saw this news. But the Brian Branch appeal, that's going to make Lions fans feel a certain way too because of who was involved. So I hit that. Like I said, Ali McNeil definitely playing this weekend. Like I said 3 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, I thought that this would be the weekend that he would get in. They flirted with us the last 2 games and were kind of giving us the maybes that he was going to play. It didn't quite happen, but this was the weekend that I definitely expected it. Monday night, Tampa Bay. Sounds like he'll be on a pitch count, 20, 25-ish plays is what I think Dan had spoke to. So we'll discuss that. And then I found this really horrible article that I have to highlight because I just don't get it. I don't get it. We might get into some Lions media sessions this morning. We'll see how long I can go. I'm feeling a little bit better. For those of you that know, I've been off for a couple of days. Better half of the week or so. Just not feeling great, but went through treatment yesterday and feeling a little bit better. So we're going to get rocking and rolling, man. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Let's do it, right? Let's get into it.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down
All right, and just like that, we're back. So let me get a chat open, which I don't know why I always forget to open that. Hot news, PFF. You guys have heard me vehemently discussing this year, where I'm a big user of PFF, but I use very specific stats and analytics out of PFF. The grades, I've never been a big supporter of the grading system. And I'm going to bring in something new this morning. I'm trying something different. I'm probably going to have to clip the whole darn thing out because of, you know what? We'll see if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. We'll take care of it later. If you notice anything during the time that we discussed this morning, please let me know. Any mods, feel free to text me, so I'll see that right away. The goal is not to break the rules, but I want to get the information out, and this is just gold, man. Pat McAfee yesterday, absolute gold. J.J. Watt, absolute gold. And I love what they said because it's the same thing I've been saying. And someone texted me yesterday. I forgot who it was. They sent me a message, and they said, "Hey, Will, there's some other people that same lane as you, talking the same way as you." I forget. I apologize. I forget who it was. But thank you, because I didn't watch it yesterday. I didn't watch Pat McAfee. I haven't watched him in a while. And I have to say, look, I'm not surprised by how they feel, but it's the same thing that I've been talking about now for a while. There's a lot of stats out there. There's a lot of analytics out there. There's so many different ways to get your football on, right? And to get deeper into the game. Obviously, what I do is a little bit different than what all of the other Lions channels do because I don't pull punches, right? And I know that doesn't make me the most exciting guy or maybe the homer, right? Because I'll talk about Aiden Hutchinson. I'll talk about Jared Goff. I'll talk about Jameson Williams. And there's going to be great conversations, and there's going to be some conversations that you won't like as a fan. Because I'm trying to cut through the fat and get right into the nitty gritty of what I see on film. What did Pat McAfee, he's over in the corner. What did Pat McAfee and J.J. Watt say, yesterday about the whole situation is it's the grades that are the problem. There's a ton of great stuff, but it's the grades that are the problem. And when you're consistently, propping up certain players over others and you're not watching film, That's the biggest problem. So that's the biggest problem. And I'm just going to say it. We have a lot of fans in this fan base for the Detroit Lions that do not watch film. And I know they don't. I can tell that they don't. The other thing that they said is you can't just watch the TV version, right? You need to have all the different angles. There's a reason for that. And so that you can actually see what's going on in multiple different plays. I think the most important thing that they said is it is really hard to give a player a grade if you have not spoken to the coach, if you have not spoken to the, to the coordinator, you don't have any sort of a clue as to what the scheme is. And I'll just be very frank. Look, I don't know. Like I'm not a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator type of an individual, right? I know a lot about football, but I don't know a lot compared to those guys. If you had a tier of 1 to 10, and let's say your normal Lions fan's a 1, I'm probably at a 3. There's so much. There's so much out there. And I'm only saying that because of all the time that I spend doing it. And so there's a lot that I don't know. There's a lot that I miss. There's a lot that I learn. And if you just look at a PFF ranking as an average fan, like we all do, you're like, man, Aiden's a 92 point whatever. Holy cow, he's at the top of the list. Myles Garrett's below him. Aiden must be better, right? I'm using Aiden as an example. But then if you go watch the tape and you watch both of them together, or side by side against the same team, and you watch how one performs versus the other, it is a stark different story between what player A and player B does. And then when you look at the grades, they don't make sense. Just like how Jared Goff, Green Light Podcast used the Patrick Mahomes, theory that how is he the 13th rated quarterback? I don't know. How's Jared Goff like the 17th? On average. I don't even know where they're at today. I didn't even open up PFF today. So it just, the scores for me, that's like skin deep. You know what I mean? It's you're scratching the surface. If you really want to know who these guys are and how they're playing on the field, one, watch the game, right? Don't watch the highlights, because I think that's where the trap is you watch the highlights. And when you watch the highlights, it gives you this feel good, feeling, wow, look how good he was on that play. Man, he really beat that tackle clean. Look how he flattened that edge, and look how he rounded that corner, whatever, right? Look at that great bend. None of you are saying that, right? None. I wasn't saying that a few years ago. I'm barely into scout school. Like, there's so much to learn. The lingo enough is hard enough. But anyway, I'm going to start with that. I've said enough. Let's let some other people talk about it, other than me for once, because I feel like I beat a drum sometimes about certain things, and this is one of those things that I think that we have to kind of have this open discussion and come to a conclusion that maybe some of the guys that you think are extremely elite football players are not that elite at all. They might be very good at their position. They might be, one of the best in the league, but that doesn't mean that you can compare them to the elite. I put the elite on their own pedestal. And when I say elite, we're talking Hall of Famers, right? Guys that will, like, the stats are one thing. That's great. How have you affected the game for your team? That is the difference between a stat patter and an elite football player. An elite football player will have some stats, but they've also changed the game for their team. And they show up when the lights are the brightest and the moment is the biggest. And that is the line of separation for me. And it's hard to convey that. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now. And then when I get back, we'll see who's in the chat today. And hopefully we got some new people in. And by the way, appreciate all of the well wishes from everybody. Did not expect that at all. I posted a picture of me at the cancer center getting treatment yesterday. And yeah, it's not my favorite place in the world to be, but I get to talk to some amazing people. I get to hear their stories. And that's what it's all about. I use it as a way to get to know some cancer warriors and some cancer survivors, man, and get inside their battle with them and give them a little bit of hope at the end of the day. And hey, I'm still there too, right? I'm going to be there for my whole life. And it's never easy, right? Life is not easy. You just got to keep pushing, man. It's just, I think that's why football and I have this nice little marriage going on, because I utilize what football is all about in my own life. And what Dan Campbell has done with this team and what Dan Campbell has brought to the table, the things that he says, what he's all about, what he's trying to do with Detroit and this football team, man, it was a breath of fresh air at the right time, right, for me. So there's this connection there that works. And hey, if it works for you, it works for you. It may not work for you, but it's working for me. All right. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate y'all. Let's get into this. Let's get into this here. Couple of changes on the back end I got to navigate here. They updated everything, so when you do update the app for YouTube, it changed for me. I don't know if it's going to change for you guys, but it also changed on the PC side too, which is kind of cool. I like it, but I just got to learn where stuff is again. All right, I think we're good. All right, here we go. Pat McAfee, yesterday. You're going to notice this new type of screen here. It's by purpose.
Stats from one particular company are coming under fire right now.
Oh, man.
Ty, now there's been a select community that has been anti-PFF for a very long time. Okay, very vocal. Since the beginning of PFF, there's been people that say, nope, hate it. Need to see a denominator, hate it. Okay, stats kind of taking over football was something that a lot of people hate. PFF became like the commercial face of stats taking over football because Collinsworth's, they're the Jordan brand of stats. PFF,
the authority.
Oh, you're saying the authority?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say also the Jordan brand. I think PFF kind of became the Jordan and the authority brand of like stats commercial companies. Chris Collinsworth tie-in, obviously, and I assume it's a negotiated deal with NBC.
Certainly.
That they will be used during Sunday Night Football, which is obviously the most watched game every single week. So these PFF things become like the authority on the stats world. And there's been people that have hated that since very, very beginning.
Sure.
A lot of ex-players and current players hate these things. Now, this isn't the first time or first era of players hating ranking systems. I have been very open about my feelings with the Madden folks whenever I debuted on that particular game. And although I was not a Madden player, everybody around me were Madden players, and they couldn't wait to punt with me their first time. And then all I heard from everybody is how ass I was as a punter in Madden and in life. That's how people felt. And I said, I never met a Madden guy. Has this guy ever watched me kick? Has this guy ever watched me lift? My strength was like 14.
Yeah.
I was watching myself just get my ass beat by people on this field. I try to throw a football, arm strength went to nothing. I'm like, these Madden people have never seen me throw a football. I've been all-time quarterback in my neighborhood since I'm 8 years old because I can go telephone pole to telephone pole. I'm pump, pass, and kick, world champion. I can spin this thing. You got my arm strength at 13. What the fuck do you know, Madden people? Make me look bad to my family. Okay? That's just my story.
And friend.
That's just my story.
All right, disclaimer, there's going to be some language in this video, so please excuse it. I don't have a censor button fast enough because honestly, I don't know when the words are coming, but we'll continue here. It's about 8 more minutes.
I'm a punter, low-level punter. Think about all the other stories in which these PFF grades have changed ways people's lives have gone. Madden has gone, let alone playing with yourself.
Yeah.
Getting bombed on by 14-year-old in headset.
Right.
On you. Bum ass, trash ass. Okay, in real life, though, you literally just lock this person down. So the rating and the number next to somebody, okay, always been a talking point. Whenever one becomes the authority over others, and one becomes like a Bible or like a most definite factoid for people, there is always going to be detractors. And ex-players have been attacking and coaches have been attacking. Spagnuolo, the defense coordinator for the Chiefs, I think 2 weeks ago came out and said, I know PFF is going to say, and then buried it.
Yeah.
Chris Long, Super Bowl champion, hit a dinger of a PFF take on his most recent podcast.
get Mahomes quarterback 13 of 32 off my television screen. We're talking about legislation, what our kids shouldn't see at school, what they shouldn't be learning about. Like, should we have political ads on television? I want the PFF scores off the TV as bad as I want political ads off the television, because, like, God forbid there's somebody watching the game who doesn't know who fucking Patrick Mahomes is. Right. They're going to be badly misguided, brother. 13th best quarterback in the league? I mean, if I was not Nandi, and maybe he earned it this year, but I would fucking sue. I'd be in Chris Collinsworth's backyard, dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'd be at the window. Right. Like, what the fuck? You can't do that, dude.
You can't do that. That's at the very beginning, too. Like, at the very beginning, they're straight. Hey, let's introduce you to these characters. Yeah. Okay, here's Nandi, 119 judged. He's the worst. Okay, and it's not like golf. You don't want to be the lowest. Okay, he's by far the worst. Patrick Mahomes, middle of the pack. Okay, just average. Kind of middle of the pack here, go around. Then there's people that somehow, there's like more than 32 starters, and they'll somehow put you in there and it'll be like ranked 27th out of 33 or something like that, or 33rd out of 30. It's like you're really burying these people on things that you might not know all the information. And I think that is why players hate it so bad. And coaches say, hey, I'm actually the one that told this one player on this one particular look to leave his person and go. It was our decision to do that. Strategy. You know, we're trying to mix it up a little bit. You can't imagine PFF trying to judge Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Okay, Troy Polamalu had no rules. He's everywhere all the time. Mm-hmm. So PFF would just have to say, well, he's actually cover 3 here, so he's supposed to get this deep third. And he left his deep third, so that's actually a downfall. He does get the sack where he jumps over an offensive lineman, but his actual job on the play was to be deep third. So they could have got bombed on if he didn't jump up. It's like those types of conversations being able to exist just completely defeat your argument that your rankings are definitive. And the fact that it gets showed in the biggest game, I like the players and everybody starting to kind of stick up for it. And there's always been a little
All right, let me pause there because I have to do a little bit of play-by-play with this. I think that's the whole purpose, right? Obviously, all of this is for educational purposes, and we're trying to get an understanding here of what's going on with PFF and what are the players talking about, what is the NFL talking about, what is what is PFF's recourse going to be? Are they going to print anything? Are they going to talk about this? And if so, when? Right? Because for me, here, let me switch screens here. For me, he just said the most important thing that I feel like I've been bringing to light over the past couple of weeks is the most important issue is you don't know the scheme. We know the alignment. We have a general idea of where they're supposed to be because if you're in a cover 3, but what if you're disguised, right? What if you're disguising? What if you're going out there looking like you're going to be in a cover 3 and it's really something else, right? You don't really know what each player's assignment is supposed to be. I love the analogy here of Polamalu because, again, he's in cover 3. He's supposed to cover the deep third, but he didn't. He left his post. He went and jumped over the I can see the play in my head. I can see this exact play. He jumps over the offensive line and he sacks the quarterback. But he was supposed to be back there defending, the deep third. But he didn't. So we're going to knock him one, and then we're going to give him one for the sack. So that equaled out. That's a zero. That's a sum of zero play. That's what doesn't make sense. And the thing that really doesn't make sense is what you're about to hear from J.J. Watt. That really blows the roof off this thing. And I also mentioned it. I did this algorithm video the other day, or live, right? It was part of the Gripes and Hype. And I said, I've gone through the algorithm, and that was just like portion 1. You guys were so bored, I'm sure, listening to all the crap that I was talking about. But it's important. It's important to go and read it all for yourself. And I don't know if it's behind paywall or not, but read it all for yourself. Because then it's going to wake you up and you're going to be like, holy cow. Like, they have 600 employees, of which only 3% of the top 60 are allowed to give a final grade. How can they do that with 16 games in one weekend within a span of 72 hours? How are they watching all that film? How are they watching all that film from every angle and really giving a definitive grade? I don't think it can be done. I have a hard enough time grading or evaluating maybe 32 athletes just before the draft. Like, I try to do like top 50. Like, I try to go through 50. And if I don't start like in December, it's tough to get all of that in because you got to go find the tape, which getting college tape is impossible. I subscribe to something that allows me to get some extra cut-ups. But you get what I'm going with here it's extremely difficult to wrap your head around this unless you actually go and read what PFF is doing. And they put it all out there for you. I tried to share it. We didn't have enough people in. Maybe I'll rewind that and I'll try to do a slimmed down version of what's going on. And that way you can give everybody a better idea. Maybe it'll hit the algo right now because Pat McAfee's talking about it. So maybe I'll try to get that done today. But let's continue on because the gold is coming shortly. JJ he's going to blow the roof off this thing, man. Wish I had a sound effect for that. He's going to blow the roof off the place. Here we go. Let me find where I was. Where is it? There it is. Oh, no, that's not it. Hold on. There we go.
PFF out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's always been I was PFF punter of the decade.
That's right.
Congratulations.
And we celebrated that. I still got the sweatshirt.
They sent us hoodies.
Yeah.
I put the hoodie on. I was pumped about it. Now, I would argue in PFF's case, punting is probably a pretty straightforward one on who's doing good, who's not doing good. So let's make sure we take PFF serious whenever it comes to punting because that benefits me. Now, not benefiting anybody else in this particular world. Then there's situations that brew like, TJ Watt and Myles Garrett this weekend. So obviously TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, defensive MVP battles, AFC North. There is real tension here between the two of them on who's the GOAT. Not only in the NFL, but just the AFC North. And Cleveland and Pittsburgh, obviously historic rivalry of cities and towns. And this is AFC North football getting to the quarterback, big tough guys that lead their team. One guy sets the market for the other guy. One guy sets the pace for the other guy. These two have been battling, and PFF has seemingly always kind of leaned towards Myles Garrett.
Certainly.
Okay, TJ Watt has a lot of stats, okay, which we thought they loved with stats that would indicate that TJ Watt is on a historic run, and we should maybe give this guy a little bit more credit. But what PFF says is, we're not just looking at stats, even though we are stats people. We're looking at the game. We're not looking at the outcome of the play. We're looking at what's actually happening on the field. You guys watch highlights, we watch film. If you could please elaborate on your PFF usage and thoughts, especially fresh out of a week where your brother got a lower ranking than Myles Garrett in a battle, in which there's a lot of legacy, a lot of conversation, a lot of tension, a lot of rivalry, a lot of everything between those two. So if you could break it down, your angle. Now, we haven't left a lot of meat on the bone with the things that we have said about PFF from a player's perspective. Now, Jage, I'm sure you have some ideas perspective. Now, Jage, I'm sure we have said about PFF.
Okay, I had to pause it right here because just if you can read the screen, which you probably can't, here's what it says. It says Steelers only craziness. It must have been someone's Twitter account. It says per PFF, Myles Garrett had a better game than TJ Watt in the Steelers-Browns Sunday matchup. TJ Watt's PFF grade was an 84.9. He had 6 pressures, 2 pass breakups, 5 tackles, and half a sack. Myles Garrett's PFF grade was an 89.8. He had 1 pressure, which was 6 times less than TJ Watt, and 2 assisted tackles. No sacks, no pass breakups, no solo tackles. How was his grade more? Right? And I guarantee you, because I just did this last week, in the pass rushing metrics or the algorithm, if you will, for PFF, it talks about how or what they did on the play that maybe prevented something from happening. How can you just guess that this was going to happen and they prevented it? Come on. All right, we'll continue.
From a player's perspective. Now, Jage, I'm sure you have some ideas on what maybe hasn't been mentioned in this entire argument, but you have been an open, hey, we can't be putting the rankings on TV. This is not how this goes guy for a while now. Many other people are feeling empowered to maybe say it as well, or why do you think there is a little bit of a groundswell right now where people are going, we got to change how this goes if this is how it's going to continue to go?
Well, I think first things first, that conversation, the TJ Miles conversation, people want to take that and turn it into something different. I've had my issues with PFF for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
I was their #1 rated player. I had over 100 score while I was playing. They had to change the system They literally came to me and told me we had to change our system because of how you did it. So this isn't a guy who had bad grades who's disgruntled. I literally was their number one guy, and I still hate it. I have to start with this. PFF has a lot of very beneficial tools. They have things, D-Butt was just talking about it. They have things where you can break down plays by coverages, where you can cut down the film to, I just want to see runs to the right side under 5 yards. They have all this really good stuff that you can use. The number one issue with PFF, by far, bar none, hands down, is their player grading system and the fact that they project it everywhere, including nationally televised games on Sunday night where everybody's watching. And they make it underneath the rankings where it states as fact 91st out of 97th defensive tackles, 117 out of 117 offensive guard. And that is a completely made up number. That is not like the coaches around the league and the players around the league. And that is a guy or guys in the back room. I'm getting hot. I'm getting hot.
Oh, I like
Keep going. Love it.
Okay.
Keep going,
Hey,
Jay. Love it.
this is how you summon some change.
Exactly.
You got to get passionate.
Personal stories of Uber drivers telling NFL passengers that they break down film for PFF and that they watch the TV copy only and put a grade out after the game.
That Uber driver's
You can't watch. PFF has a ton of great stuff.
All right, I don't know if everyone just got a notification or what, but might have. Well, let me see if I didn't get an email. Did you guys get any notification or anything? The whole point here, I think we're good. The whole point here is the fact that JJ just blew the lid off this thing, right? And simply saying you can't have an Uber driver, which, by the way, Uber drivers are real people, right? There's some second jobs maybe for them, or even a third job, or maybe it's their full-time job. I guess depending on where you live, you could probably make some really good money doing it. I have no clue, never done it, and don't really know a lot of people that do it. So the point that he's making here is you have an Uber driver that is admitting to NFL players, the guys that they're giving rides to for whatever reason. I grade for PFF. I watch the broadcast, I watch the game, I watch it live, whatever, and then I submit a grade. You can literally do this sitting on your couch at home for PFF. They have 600 employees. If you need a part-time job, well, maybe you can get a job doing that. How much bias is involved in that? Seriously, how much bias? And if you have only 3% of the top 60, so you're talking like two people that can give final grades and review the final grades, how are you able to review all of that tape? It's not possible. So let's just be real for a moment. A U of M fan, diehard U of M fan, loves Aiden Hutchinson, right? Whatever Twitter account is the Aiden Hutchinson, you know what I'm saying? Those weird Twitter accounts, not weird, but the Aiden Hutchinson fan accounts. And they go work for PFF. What do you think Aiden's grade's going to be in every game? Through the roof. Right? Now, what if that was an Ohio State fan that had to grade that game? What do you think Aiden's grade's going to be in that game? Trash. Right? But it won't be a 0, won't be a 50, won't be a 60. It'll probably still be in the low 80s. So it's realistic. But that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is to sway these grades and the perspective of these players and their quote unquote worth to their team through their grading, through PFF, because they just have some random Jimmy and Joe sitting on the couch on a Sunday afternoon, eating pizza, watching a broadcast, throwing out some grades. Now, I would hope that it's more professional than that. I'm just going to lean with with J.J. Watt here and just assume that, yeah, probably not. Probably not. Let me finish the last few seconds of this. If none of you got a notification, maybe we're good. But just to be sure, we'll go back and finish it out. Because he says something here at the end.
Player grading sucks.
There it
Stop
is.
putting it out.
Hell yeah!
Stuff. Player grading sucks. Stop putting it out.
Hell yeah!
And a boy, Jay. Well done, Jay.
Well done, Jage. He broke the system.
He did.
This guy broke the system. And now he's
All right, there it is. And J.J. Watt, yeah, they did say a long time ago that the PFF had to reorganize what they were doing because he was so good at his position. They had to reformulate their algorithm. And I mean, that's pretty cool, right? And so he's one of the top punters in Pat McAfee, top punter of the decade. J.J. Watt, one of the most elite, in my opinion, the most elite. There's only a couple that meet him where he stands. And he's got problems with it. He has big problems with it. Not just because of his brother. I'm sure, obviously, this game didn't bode well for his thought process of PFF and what they're doing, but I think he's spot on. So you guys let me know in the comments below after the live show. What do you think about PFF? Do you feel that PFF is got some major bias or has some major bias? And are you willing to trust in it? My question is, how many people are about to unsubscribe from that, from it now? Because what they just put out, man, that is a hit piece. A lot of people are probably going to unsubscribe. I pay annually. It's like $100 a year or $80 a year, whatever I'm grandfathered in at. And I use it for all different things. All right. There's a lot of great stuff in PFF. It's not all bad. I've always said I don't believe in the grades. I just don't. I have to watch the film. But until, I finish developing my system that I think I could lean on a little bit, what else are we going to use? Right? I mean, there's a lot of other things out there that I use. I don't know. I have 12, 15 subscriptions, whatever it is. This is why I started creating my own metric system and my own analytics system that you guys have seen on a handful of occasions. And I think it's pretty close. It's pretty close because every year, I'll rank the top 2 or 3, edge or corners or quarterbacks. And every year I seem to get some of those. So there's some things that it's doing right. It's not just guessing. It's all based on a lot of different, metrics and analytics and things. But it has a long way to go. And I'm only one person, so I would need a team of teams to finish it. But we'll get there eventually. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to be talking about the rest of the day here. Brian Branch, I'm going to finish off this whole golf shenanigans. We're going to put that to bed. It is Thursday. I did miss a couple of days, so I'm a little behind the 8 ball. Tomorrow, I'll dive in deeper on the upcoming game with Tampa Bay. But today, we're just going to kind of talk about whatever. Detroit Lions news, rumors, and you name it. We're going to get more involved here in just a second. We'll be right back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, Brian Branch, man, his appeal was upheld by the Players Union. I don't know how many of you are really surprised at this, but Brian Branch did file his appeal right away. He knew that he was going to be suspended as of Monday, and just last night, I think it was probably 6 p.m.-ish, that there was a release of information that it was upheld. The problem that a lot of Lions fans have, well, it was heard and then rejected by Jordy Nelson, former Green Bay Packer. And I can't imagine that there's any bias whatsoever in Jordy Nelson's decision to sideline Brian Branch. So Jordy Nelson, whose appointment was made jointly by the league and the Players Union, made the announcement, or through the NFLPA and the Players Union, made the announcement that Brian Branch's appeal was going to be upheld. Now, the announcement of the suspension, which was written by the Vice President of Football Operations, John Runyon. Oh, wait a second. Isn't John Runyon a former Packer too? I'm pretty sure he is. That name sounds very familiar. I'll come back to that. But he said this, quote, "Your aggressive, non-football act was entirely unwarranted, posed a serious risk of injury, and clearly violated the standards of conduct and sportsmanship expected of NFL players. Your conduct reflected poorly on the NFL and was no place or has no place in our game." End quote. Okay. I would agree. I don't think that there's anything that Brian Branch did in this situation, this altercation that took place, that was warranted. Yeah, he was pissed off. Yeah, he was baited. During the game, he was hit in the back, blocked in the back, whatever. And you know what? If I were to say the same thing about what Juju Smith-Schuster did to Brian Branch, it would read like this. Your aggressive, non-football act was entirely unwarranted, posed a serious risk of injury, and clearly violated the standards of conduct and sportsmanship expected of NFL players. Your conduct reflected poorly on the NFL and has no place in our game. Juju Smith-Schuster, you are suspended. That's how it would read. But it didn't. They didn't look at the entire situation. You know what they say? The first one to throw hands gets away. The second one is the one that always gets caught. It's always the retaliation. Brian Branch retaliated, but he did it at the end of the game, which there was a lot of eyes. You know, the cameras were still rolling. It's Sunday Night Football. It's nationally televised. It has millions and millions and millions of eyes. Of course it looked really bad. Right? Of course it looked really bad. But if you're not going to go back, and yes, John Runyon is a former Packer, so that's two former Packers not helping Brian Branch at all, which, again, I would agree, the suspension was warranted. But what about Juju Smith-Schuster? Why didn't they go back and look at the game, which they can do, right? The league can do, if there's not a flag on the play, the league can go back and levy fines, right? They can also levy suspensions. There does not have to be a penalty. You can be suspended for your acts on the field later. Obviously, Branch did admit, that his slap was childish, but he maintained that the Chiefs were trying to bully me out there, quoted, citing one play in which Schuster blocked him in the back, but wasn't penalized. Branch has got a history in the NFL. He's targeted right now by the NFL, and this doesn't help it for the rest of the season. If he doesn't keep his nose clean for the rest of the year, no matter what he does, he's going to get extra attention from the league. And somehow Dan Campbell's going to have to rein this in. I don't want to see Brian Branch change what he's doing one bit. I want to see him play with the aggressive demeanor that he plays with. And I do believe that it is warranted to play the way that he plays. I don't think that he's intentionally trying to hurt or injure other players. Obviously, he could have done way worse to Juju Smith-Schuster, but he didn't. Now, he did get him on his back, and I would assume that there was a couple of punches thrown, in the huddle there when everyone was all huddled up and trying to break up the fight. Juju obviously left the fight with a bloody nose and a few tears. I can't say that I'm sad about that. Yeah, am I disgusted by the play? Sure. Does it have a place in football? No. But here's the other problem. And I forget who quoted this, who said this. So if it was you, I apologize, but I wanted to use it because it was so good. When you leave the players to police themselves, it's never going to end well. And when you have a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that was not penalized the entire game for a lot of disgusting penalties that went down, which I'm not done doing my cut-ups. Hopefully they'll be done today. You're going to see some still images of holds, the block in the back, all sorts of, offsides penalties or offsides, neutral zone infractions, so many things that were not called. Now, did the Lions get away with a few things too? Yes, they did, but they were also hammered with a few penalties. The Chiefs had 0. And I'm sure that at the end of the game, that really boiled over for some of these Lions that lost in the fashion of this game, that had a touchdown erased, It shouldn't have. Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment too. It shouldn't have. But again, you leave the players to police themselves. This is what happens. They settled it by themselves. They took ownership of the game into their own hands and tried to settle it on the field after the fact. And you just can't do that. Right? You just can't. You're going to end up on the bad side. On the bad side of the NFL and quickly. So he'll be fined. He'll be suspended. He's going to miss this game. This is not a great game for him to miss. Obviously, no games are, but the Lions are limping into this game with a secondary that was, on paper, one of the best secondaries in the league. And now we are held together by paper mache and glue. So it's not looking good. I will talk about who we brought in here in just a moment. But I want to finish with this. Brian Branch, do you agree or disagree with the suspension? And do you agree or disagree that Juju Smith-Schuster should have also been suspended, if not for anything else? He could have taken the slap and walked away, right? He didn't do that. He charged back at Branch. So he does have secondary involvement in this. He still has involvement in the fight itself. So he should have been suspended at least just for that involvement. Obviously, Branch started it. So there's that. But again, I think that the NFL has a clear, undeniable bias, and it is not in the favor of the Lions. And I said this yesterday. I think that Dan Campbell has had enough. I think that, hence the thumbnail today. I think that the players have had enough, and they just want to be treated fairly. They just want to go out and play football, man. That's all they want to do. They want to play in a good, clean game. They want to play with, intensity. But they're sick and tired of being treated, unfairly. And I think it's now boiling over, and tensions are way too high, and things happen like this. Unwarranted, yes. Irresponsible, yes. But I believe more action should have come out of this for more suspensions. And I'll leave it at that. All right, let me welcome you guys into the chat here for a moment. I haven't had a second to do that. Robbie ones, man. I saw one of your messages this week. I couldn't find it. It popped up, and then I couldn't find it later. But yeah, man. Love the support, dude. That was great. If in fact that is that individual, but it's kind of funny when accounts are created like the day before, or 2 days before, or a week before. You know what I mean? A new YouTube account. Yeah, we know who that is. Those are people that have been banned from the channel that are trying to get in and cause drama. We don't have drama, man. This is where the adults hang out. Someone said that, and now I'm going to be using that forever, because we seem to have some really good, level-headed people in here. We get an occasional troll or whatever, and that's okay. Everyone has their First Amendment right. They can feel, in their own way and have their own opinions and all that good stuff. But man, in this community for Rockhound Detroit Lions, we have some really good people here, really good level-headed people that I think that love to just be, one part of a community that cares enough to try to get to the truth, right? And to try to have some transparency and enjoy football, right? And enjoy the team and not be so Debbie Downer all the time. I can't stand being Debbie Downer. Yeah, I talk about some stuff that's not always easy, but I would say I'm a good 80-20 mix, 80 of good, positive, fun, exciting stuff, and, original content. 20% not so fun. But yeah, salute you too, man. Trace, good morning to you. Brandy Coffee, good morning. Nick P, good morning to you. Krista H, good morning. Got John Desage in the house. Good morning. Todd Budry, Elaine Hill. Let's see. Maureen, safe travels today. YOOPERLITES, good morning, Eric, and everybody else. Good luck with the photo shoot today. Brent DeWitt, Jay cruising for a bruising, man. Always. Jay cruising, always cruising. Always cruising. Cruising, did I send you any coffee? Or did I just send you a flag? I don't remember now. And I know that there's some other people waiting on a couple of things. I'm waiting on a couple of things. Yeah, things kind of went to hell in a handbasket for me there. Who else is in here? There's a lot more names in here that I'm just not seeing right now. I can only go back so far. Motown Mitch, good morning. David Napier. And everybody else that I missed, Peter Van Larhoven, Derek Lewis, Kevin Barr, Mike P, if you're in here. Anybody else, man, good morning. Appreciate you guys being part of Rockdown Detroit Lions. And then to the most recent 300 plus subscribers that we've had overnight. Welcome into the channel. Don't be afraid to participate. It's a great community. And obviously all of your opinions, they matter. And we want to hear from you. If you do decide to become a member of the channel, I think it's like $3.99 or $4.99 a month for the lowest tier. We do have a very cool Voxer chat where all of the members chat all the time about football, share content back and forth, and get everybody up to speed on all the latest and greatest. It's a really, really fun community to be a part of, especially on game days. You know, everyone's chatting it up, having fun. So appreciate y'all. And thank you for sending that video to the moon, man. I think it's still doing pretty good. I know it slowed down a lot last night when all the glitches were going on, and I thought, man, that's going to be dead in the water. As soon as I put it up, within 30 minutes, it was glitch city. And I kept seeing error code, and you know exactly what I was thinking. You know, that 3-letter company probably got to me, even though I have an NFL media credential. Which I probably need to walk a tighter line with, but hey, it is what it is. I can have my First Amendment right too, right? That's why I left it up for you guys to decide. I'll give you my opinion, but it's up for you guys to decide. Yeah, 10.5K this morning. That's a huge jump from just 10K not even a week ago. So, awesome. Good morning to everybody. Let's get into the next subject. Brian Branch, man. Damn it. That's going to be a big loss this weekend. All right, there's a couple more points that I wanted to make about Jared Goff. A couple of more points. And it was a reminder in one of the comments in the video from yesterday that rewatching the play a few times, what you notice is the Chiefs paid no attention to Goff at all. None. Now, there were some people in the comments saying that, you know, the way I put up some of the images or whatever, it didn't show anybody moving. Like I said, nobody moved. Nobody did move. The only person that moved on that entire play before the ball was snapped was Jared Goff. He's the only player that moved outside of Montgomery's right foot when he, accepted this, the snap or called for the snap. Excuse me. So nobody moved. And what I mean by that is when Jared Goff was going into motion, no linebacker kicked out, no safety rolled over, no corner kicked out. Nobody followed Jared Goff. It's not that they were duped, right? The Chiefs it's not that they were duped on the play. But what I'm beginning to wonder is, were they alerted by the play? Because Dan Campbell, now I'm going to go down a rabbit hole for a sec. Dan Campbell always talks to the refs, right? He was asked the question, I believe by Jeremy Reisman in yesterday's press conference, or it might have been Tuesday's. What did the refs tell you? You usually talk to the refs about all these plays beforehand. Did they tell you it was a legal play or whatever, right? And Dan didn't want to comment on that. But Dan, again, vehemently said that the call came from New York. That's what he was told by an official. So my question is this. When Dan spoke with the refs, or if he did, he says he does this about all the time with all these plays. Did they warn him that this was not legal if Dan Campbell described it in the exact manner of who was going to be placed where, who was going to line up where, when, player was going to move and go in motion? Did they warn him that this was illegal play? Is that their job? If you discuss the play with the ref, are they supposed to tell you if it's legal or not? If you're asking a ref for guidance, are they supposed to help you? Those are the things that I don't know, right? I don't know if you're not in the game situation, right? It's before the game. If the ref is doing what they're supposed to do and they give their time to the coach because the coach wants to talk to him about a few things. Hey, we're going to do these things throughout the game. Be prepared for this. This is, one of the plays we're going to run. Are they supposed to identify an issue with the play? I don't know if they're showed tape. I don't know if they're showed documentation or if they're showed formations, on a board or in paper. I don't know. Would they have warned Andy Reid if it was an illegal play? Because it just doesn't sit well with me, right? It doesn't sit well with me that obviously the way that it went down. And just so everybody understands, with yesterday's video, I believe the most important thing to take away from this is not so much whether the play was legal or illegal, right? That really doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is how the play was called for illegal motion. When no flag is dropped and you score, that's it, right? You can't just be throwing flags out after the fact. A minute and a half or minute and 14 seconds later, you can't get a call from the booth or New York and they butt in and say, hey, there's illegal motion on the play, and then you drop a flag. Can't do that either. It's very clear in the rule book where it states very certain things that can be done after the fact, or what they can confirm is that if a flag was dropped prior to, right, the play being done, they can confirm the penalties that you're looking into. I don't have my list in front of me, so I should probably get it in front of me. I don't want to misspeak. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? Here it is. And there's a lot of contradictions. And again, I know a lot of you probably watched the video yesterday, which I don't do a lot of premieres. I think I'm going to start doing a few more of those. It seems to work pretty well. That one worked extremely well. We had more people in the premiere than we do a live show, which is crazy. So what the refs can and can't do, or what the NFL operations rule book states, which I just got to find the rule here. One sec. Okay, there's explicit league statement notes inside the rule book that say replay officials may analyze and overturn penalties that they are being asked to look at. They cannot call penalties on their own from the booth. This is different from how things work in the NBA. It's the analogy that I made where replay in the NBA can call fouls that were not originally spotted during live play. That can't happen in the NFL. Now, it was under Rule 15, Section 9 that further elaborated that replay in New York can proactively address specific objective rulings, such as confirming or correcting penalty enforcement, but are not empowered to create a new foul after the play based on video when none was flagged in real time. And that was my biggest, I think, argument in this whole thing, is nothing was done in real time. It was done after the fact. And again, my further 2 cents on this whole deal is that did the refs in fact say that this was an illegal play? And when you go through everything that I laid out yesterday, it was to, give you all of the information and data to kind of make, your own conclusion as to what happened. I think that we all agree with one thing. We got screwed. We got screwed because when you score a TD, they're supposed to just confirm whether or not you scored, right? That's it. That is it. But there's also something else to this, which I don't want to make excuses. Like I'm never gonna use the refs as a full reason why we lost the game. Yeah, I think that this totally dismantled the Lions' energy, from the outset of the game because they just ran down the field. What was it? 15 plays, like 10 minutes off the board, and did everything that they wanted to do. And then that just deflates you, right? But they missed a penalty on that play for the neutral zone infraction. That would have been an offsetting penalty. So you're right back at the half-yard line. It's 4th down. Lions would have had a play call. They would have went in and scored probably. I'm almost positive that they would have scored at least 70% of the time like the data shows. So I'm pretty confident they would have got it done, but they didn't. And, the thing that I've always said for a long time is that you have to score points to keep the refs out of the game, right? But you have to keep points off the board to shut the refs out of the game. And the Lions didn't do that. And they just looked totally deflated. I got a message the other day from a fan and supporter of the channel. And I'm not going to use his name. But this is what he said. He said, "Hey, great show this morning. When you go watch the tape, watch the commercial breaks. When the cameras go on Goff, he just had a look on his face like either he wasn't happy with the play calling or he could just sense they were going to lose. I'm not a facial recognition expert, but I wonder if there isn't some issues with the offensive coordinator's play calling and the players just are not responding with or they are responding with a blank look on their face, because that's exactly what Goff had. One of the offensive coaches had to keep pounding Montgomery in the chest to keep him pumped up, but he wasn't in the game for quite a while, and Gibbs just doesn't look excited about anything. I'm not a psychologist, but you just look at the demeanor of the team, and play calling has a lot to do about the jazz of the team, and it just looks absent. I would look at Goff's face when he was sitting on the sidelines, and he just looked dejected. Seriously, just looks disconnected. And you know what? He's not lying. He's not lying. And I guess I noticed some of the same thing during the game. I just felt like maybe Goff was pissed off about that whole situation. But then again, when I went back and looked and tried to spot what he was talking about in this message, it wasn't just a couple of players. It was like widespread. And so did this play completely take, the wind out of their sails for the rest of the game? Or is there something else going on? I've called into question some of the play calling. At times it looks absolutely fantastic. And then at other times, not so much. This game, I think that there was some clear mistakes with some play calling at times. So I don't know. Again, I'm going to leave it up to you. I guess let's do a poll. And good morning to Karen Z and Coach Tanya. Some new subscribers to the channel. Appreciate you popping in today. So let me do a quick poll. Do you believe the play calling could be better? We'll leave it plain Jane. Yes or no? Do you believe it could be better? And this is overall for the season so far. When the time, when the game is on the line, or when we really need to emphasize a turnover, or you really need to get some points at the right time, is the play calling different after a turnover? I think it is. Now, we did great in one game. I think that was the Bengals. I think we had 17 points off turnover. That was the best game we've had yet. But prior to that, man, we struggle at times. And in this game against the Chiefs, man, it just seemed like they knew everything that we were doing. And we couldn't get anything rolling. Again, Gibbs doesn't look as excited as he usually is. Montgomery was pissed he wasn't in the game. He was amped up, ready to go. And you know what? Hey, we went down and we should have scored. We did score. It got taken from us. It is what it is. We're going to move past it. I'm not going to blame the refs 100% because to Dan's points, to everyone's points, they should have played better. The defense had a big letdown in this game. The offense can't just score 17 points. But you know what? Here's the other thing that is so important to, I think, take away from this. When the offense is having a bad day, that is when your defense has to show up. They have to. The offense can't carry you every game, right? They just can't. And so far through this season, I think the defense has done a very good job through week 4. And then after week 4, things have kind of been falling apart a little bit. I mean, the Bengals game was good too, but again, they shouldn't have had that huge letdown in the fourth quarter. Injuries were part of that. We can put, into buckets, injuries were a cause. We can put into buckets, the refs were an issue. We can put into a bucket that the play calling is an issue. At the end of the day, Dan has got to figure this thing out. Unfortunately, we're right in that same situation where we were last year, midway through the season. We had a lot of things stacking up against us. The difference with this year is we have a lot of great things coming back. We have Davenport coming back. Ali McNeil's about to get his first start. DJ Reed and Terry and Arnold are both going to be able to come back in a couple more weeks. Hopefully, week 10, week 10, I think is the earliest for DJ Reed. So we have good positive energy coming back to the team, which will lift us up, right? It'll take us into that second half, and hopefully we get to that level of playing our best ball together because they're just now, we're starting to gel a little bit, and then the injuries happen. So it's kind of, they have to start over again, and then we're starting with some new players. So I'm going to go there next. Majestic Redwood. What is that, Bill Rowland? Majestic Redwood? Was that restaurant? I thought that was kind of crazy too, that they were showing like the restaurant during the game. I don't know. I don't know too many other players that get their businesses highlighted during a Sunday night football game. Apparently the Chiefs do. They must have paid for some pretty damn good advertising, right? You would hope that they paid for it. Or maybe that was just the way that they paid for the game. I'm just kidding. No, I'm really not. Oh, it's a line from a Taylor Swift song. Oh, that song where she's talking about his... Okay, I got you. Yeah, I heard something about that. I got to say, like, I don't have Taylor Swift on my playlist. Sorry. All right, up next, man. Lions pulled a good one. Right back here in 2 seconds.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, so Detroit Lions making moves before this weekend's game, and they started with bringing in Kendall Fuller, which obviously is a huge pickup. A lot of experience. I did a video on him already, so I'm not gonna pound the drum there. But they did something that, man, I was ear to ear happy, smiling, laughing. I was done yesterday. Obviously, I was exhausted, so I wasn't going to come back in, later in the evening and do another video. But how about pulling a player from the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad? Oh, I love it. I think it is such a good move. I mean, not only to get a good player, right, but a player that you have a previous relationship with. Apparently met with Brad Holmes at one point. And then also snaking a player from a team that just, you felt like you got screwed over in that game pretty badly. So I love this. I love this play by Brad Holmes. And I think that the player, Jamie Robinson, should be pretty decent. We'll see how long he sticks around, but obviously the Lions are bringing in safety Jamie Robinson off of the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. They signed him to a 1-year deal. Obviously, the Lions are trying to address the depleted, secondary ahead of the Week 7 matchup. Brian Branch suspended, Kirby Joseph nursing the knee injury, and today we'll find out where our injury report lies. Again, kind of where we're going into the Monday night game. Is Kirby going to be able to play? Are they going to shut him down to get an extra week to heal that knee? I think these are all things that Dan Campbell is flirting with a little bit, as he mentioned in some of his press conferences this week. Now, Jamie Robinson terminated his Chiefs practice squad contract on Wednesday and agreed to terms with the Lions. Now, he was originally a 2023 fifth-round pick of the Panthers, number 145 overall. He appeared in 21 games over 2 seasons. So I love the fact that he's got or has some playing experience, right? Primarily played on special teams, though. And he has experience at nickel and box safety, which obviously we utilize box safety quite a bit. Now, career snapshot and some of his verified stats, it's not much, but again, 21 games, 2 starts. According to the data I could find, 20 total tackles, 75 defensive snaps, 366 special team snaps. His primary primary alignment with, playing in the NFL so far, nickel, 41 snaps, box safety, 32, and then very limited free safety opportunities. Now in college, highlighted, here's a highlight snapshot or a snapshot of his highlights. 319 tackles, 15 and a half TFLs, 16 passes defensed, 7 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 1 sack, 4 interceptions. There's no way that was all in 2021. That can't be. 4 interceptions, 1 sack, 3 forced fumbles, 7 intercept. No. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 interceptions in 2021. Excuse me. Couldn't read my own writing. His background, obviously he's 5'11", 200 pounds, was good size. I prefer my guys to be over 6 foot, but 5'11" at 200 pounds, he's carrying some good weight. He's known for his toughness, instincts, quick feet from combine evaluations, very compact frame with high-end, short area quickness. His role when he was in Carolina was he was a core teams player, 366 special team snaps, situational DB, alignments at nickel and box safety. Like I said, it really suggests to me that he should be able to play in a couple of positions, but also filling in on special teams where we definitely need some help. I'm not sure what's up with Sione Vaki this week. We'll find out again today what's going on with him. Is he still shut down? Is he coming back? I'm not real sure. I honestly, I forget, last week's injury report on what's going on with him. Some of his strengths, again, noted by some of the other publications, volume snaps and coverage teams experience transfer immediately to the Detroit Lions. Third phase of the game here in special teams. His short area quickness and his foot speed was noted as typewriter fast feet and smooth acceleration when loose in drills. Technique focused with occasional rigidity and testing, but efficient movement patterns. That was on Yahoo. Someone wrote that on Yahoo. Jeremy Reisman. I thought that was an interesting take. Typewriter fast feet with smooth acceleration when loose in drills. Technique focus. I haven't watched any tape on the guys. I don't have a personal opinion on them. Versatility as a nickel box safety reps. They offer sub-package flexibility and emergency depth as a DB in spots where needed, when needed. I mean, a DB is a DB. He's got to learn how to cover quickly in this league. Areas to monitor, limited defensive volume, the 75 snaps in defense. Obviously, no NFL takeaways yet. his acclimation to the Lions terminology and the match zone rules will obviously dictate his ability to get on the field. The goal will be to not have him on the field this early. I don't think he's going to get called up for this weekend. I think it's going to be way too early, but I guess we'll see what happens with Lauren Strickland. Roster context, Detroit secondary, obviously we're stretched thin. Brian Branch, his 1-game suspension, it was upheld, and the knee issue with Kirby Joseph is the reason why the Lions have brought in multiple players. So I was taking a look at our DB room, and it's kind of crazy. Let me see if I can get this pulled up for you guys. It's kind of crazy when you look at where we are right now. I can't. I hate looking at this. I can't stand it. I hate seeing the 2-letter word, man. IR, or the 2-letter abbreviation. IR is just, it's so bothersome to me now. I'm probably gonna have to fix this, but we'll roll it.
I know officiating isn't your favorite thing to talk about, but regarding the trick play.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to play. Told you I was going to have to fix it. All right, I do got to fix this, though. So nobody can read it. Let's try that again. All right, here we go. Pull this guy over. So taking a look at our depth chart, again, like I was saying, it's just nuts to where we are already in this season with all the injuries. Now, is it an excuse? No, we can't use it as an excuse. We have to figure out a way to utilize some of the better parts of our defense to find ways to win. Now, the good news, like I said, Marcus Davenport on IR will be coming back. Not so sure about Ezekiel Turner or Khalil Dorsey. I think Turner's done for the year. Dan Jackson's obviously done for the year. Ennis Rakestraw, done for the year. DJ Reed will be back. Daniel Thomas, I'm not sure the game plan here. He probably could return after several, 7-8 weeks off. Brian Branch being suspended, again, not ideal. But when you look at what we have for starting opportunities this weekend, well, we know it's not Terry and Arnold. We know it's not Avonte Maddox, and Khalil Dorsey's on IR. So what is your next option? And I don't even see the new guys on here. Hold on. Yeah, they're not on the Lions roster yet either. In the world. All right, one sec. Let me pull this in. So when you look at what the Lions are most likely going to be dealing with, right? We have now gone from Terry and Arnold. Here, let me just get out of this because this one's not going to show us. We're now going from Terry and Arnold and DJ Reed to Amik Robertson and Rock Ya-Sin on the outside. Well, Amik Robertson and Rock Ya-Sin should still be available this weekend, obviously. But then we have Kendall Fuller, most likely going to get brought up for this game. Eric Hallett, brought up from the practice squad. Nick Whiteside, brought back into the practice squad to the elevated to the roster. Arthur Mollett just signed, about a week ago on October 8th. And Trey Flowers signed on October 1. Nick Whiteside was also signed on October 1. So it's totally transformed from our starting 5. You're starting 4 or 5 guys in the DB room. It's totally changed. Like, we're not operating the same way we started the season. Obviously, everyone knows that. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new guys added to this team. Jamie Robinson, Kendall Fuller, Nick Whiteside brought back, Trey Flowers, Arthur Mollett, that's 5, and then Eric Hallett, who was on the practice squad already. So the entire depth chart is transformed to all new guys, all new names. Not a whole lot of time for these guys to gel together, right? Not a whole lot of time for these guys to figure each other out. And that is, I think, is going to be the toughest part of the game, you know, going up against Tampa. Thank goodness they're kind of depleted on the offensive side of the football. But as we've seen with Baker Mayfield, man, he's playing at a high level. It doesn't matter who he has. He's finding ways to win. He's finding ways to get that ball downfield. And that is the thing that I think the Lions need to worry about the most, is being able to stop Baker Mayfield. Again, a guy with wheels, a guy that can move, a guy that can extend plays. How are you going to treat it? Are you going to treat him like Mahomes and Lamar? Probably should. He might not be as shifty, but he can definitely move around. And I think that the Lions need to be super careful with this defense this weekend, because Baker, I mean, he's really playing at such a high level right now. I mean, he's one of the league's highest passers, and he's just finding ways to win. So they have to pay a lot of attention to him. And when you have all of these new DBs, which I don't think they played terrible against Kansas City, I think there was just a ton of communication issues. And I think our linebackers didn't play well at all. And our defensive line needs to do a much better job. All right. Aiden can't continually get behind the quarterback and take himself out of the play. He needs to cut through the quarterback. He needs to take a better angle to the quarterback. And so does AQM. And Tyleek Williams needs to step up. You know, DJ Reader played a great game last weekend, but he's constantly taking on double teams. So someone has to find a way to win. And no, it's not about bringing in another edge. That's not the answer. The problem is we don't have DBs right now that can play man defense outside of Amik Robertson. That's my opinion. And based on the tape that I've watched, or the film that I've watched, I'm going to stick with that opinion. That we just don't have the guys that can play sticky coverage on the outside. And that puts some pressure on the guys that are supposed to be getting pressure, right? Up in the front 4 there. You need to win with the natural 4. Now we have to depend on the front 7 to be able to get pressure and contain Mayfield. And that's where we're going to be reliant on the DBs. Just 3 seconds. Like, if they can at least just give us 3 seconds, 3.25 seconds, that really levels up what the defensive line is able to do. But if they get too wide, if they, horizontally stretch that offensive line, that's when Baker's going to gash you. He'll take off. He'll push the ball downfield with his legs, or he'll make an off schedule play with his arm. So I think that they still need to treat this game with the same level of respect that they were giving Lamar, and a much better job than what they gave Mahomes, because I think it was a piss poor plan against Mahomes. I don't think they did a really good job at all in the front. And Jack Campbell has to step up in a big way this weekend. He's got to play a much better game from the middle of the field. I'm going to bring him in here in just a moment, hear what he had to say about getting better. Before I do that, actually, you know what? I'll just bring him in right now. All right, Jack Campbell on getting better this weekend. Maybe. I think I got it muted.
I just feel like they did a good job keeping us on our heels, but I just feel like we just gave them too much, and I feel like it kind of starts with me. So we need to be better. So.
How much pressure does he put on you when that ball comes out as fast as it does?
I mean, obviously they have really good chemistry. They know Pat's a smart quarterback, so he knows what coverage we're in post snap. So I mean, we just got to get there and make the play. So.
How tough were the penalties tonight when you're giving them first downs?
I mean, it's tough, but we ain't gonna complain. Just the way it goes, I guess. Just move on.
fourth down's difficult too. A couple of big plays there that really could have swung it.
We on fourth down, we got to get off the field. We need to do a better job with that, and which we've done a good job short yardage all year long. And I feel like today we were just not there. So
red zone defense as well. When they got down there, they scored 4. Really added 5 times.
We need to, and that's something that I need to just continue to work with everyone. But that needs to improve, and the communication down there needs to improve. So.
Did you see anything at the end of the game there?
No, I just tried to help out and just get everyone out of there. It's just not football, so yep.
Jack, was there a specific part of the game plan you guys had going into this one that you weren't able to execute the way you wanted?
No, it was just kind of on the. I feel like honestly, it was just on the players, and I can put it on me too. There's some plays that I wish I could have back, but it's just going out there and doing what you got to do. Fundamental football. It's just little things.
Was Mahomes able to get out of the pocket more than you guys wanted to today?
I feel like for the most part we did a solid job containing him, but because he's going to do that. There's no kind of getting around that, but I feel like there's a couple of times we could have been better. So.
Can you explain how much more was maybe on your play today, just with the moving pieces? How much more of the communication just had to be on point going into this one?
It was honestly a pretty normal game plan. I just, it was nice to have obviously BB and Kirby out there. That's kind of a last minute thing, so that was good to have them out there. And but it wasn't good when we lost. So I appreciate it.
How's it going?
One of these days, I'll get this figured out to where I can stop them from playing something right away. One of these days, I'll figure that out. I promise. So good comment in here by who was it? Who was it? I think it was U of M Dad. Yeah, it was. You can see the disappointment on his face, or you can hear the disappointment in his voice. And absolutely, like, Jack knows he needs to be better. Jack knows he didn't have a great game, and it's gonna have to be totally different this weekend or this Monday. You can't have a major letdown like this again. And Aleem McNeil will be in. And again, look, let's not get overly comfortable with the fact that Aleem McNeil is going to be back. If you know me by now, you know that I always say the first game, or even this whole season, could be a throwaway season. What I mean by that is Aleem is going to have to obviously get his feet underneath him in game rep shape, right? He's been practicing, but it's not game rep shape. It might take him a couple of games. It might take him a couple of games to feel healthy, right? To get the speed underneath him again and get his body to take a couple of hits and also tackle a couple of guys and then develop that, I guess, that confidence that his injury is put behind him. I think that is probably one of the biggest things that these guys go through after a major injury like this, like with Aiden or anyone, is having that confidence that you're going to be okay. That when you hit the ground for the first time or whatever, you're going to be able to get back up. So I'm not expecting a ton out of Aleem. I think it would be a pleasant surprise if Aleem McNeil is able to have a very impactful first game back. But I'm just trying to set the expectation, set the bar a little bit low here, that I'm not expecting a ton. I'm expecting great play from him, but I'm not expecting, for him to be a game changer. Aleem could surprise the hell out of us, though, because that is Aleem. Like, he is a game wrecker when he needs to be. He could pop out, man. He really could. He could have an exceptionally good game. Obviously, playing next to Tyleek Williams and DJ Reader and having Aiden back in the fold, and Jack, when he's on it, he's playing well. Like, all of these guys together can be the difference in this game. The front seven again is gonna have to really control this game, but man, they better do a better job in coverage over the middle of the field. And if they don't figure out a way to shut down the tight ends, it's going to be a long day. I called it last week with Kelsey. If you don't bracket Kelsey, if you don't take him out of the game, Chiefs are going to beat you. And that's what they utilized. They utilized Kelsey to beat us. Kelsey was setting everything up. But Aleem McNeil coming back, obviously, is a major piece of this defense, has been for the last few seasons. So week 7, Monday night, he's good to go. As Dan Campbell said on 97.1 The Ticket on Tuesday morning, he said, listen, barring something happening this week, Aleem's freaking playing, man. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see him get in. And looks like we got a Bucks, Rays, and Bolts fan in here that just received a membership by U of M Dad. Appreciate you, U of M Dad, for sending that out. It just didn't go to a Lions fan. So anyway, welcome in Bucks, Rays, and Bolts, man. Thanks for joining us this morning. Anyway, Lions Open elevates the guys around him. He'll elevate their level of play or their production. Just him being out there because he's going to draw a little bit of attention, or they're going to have to. So listen, this is his first game back, so he'll have to shake off a couple of cobwebs. But after what I've seen the last 2 weeks, it won't take long. It's good to have him back. He's certainly one of our pieces, man, a pivotal piece to what we do here, and he's going to help us. And I believe that. I do. I think Aleem is going to be a great or a good fresh start for this defensive line that's looking for a spark right now. They're looking for some sort of a spark. Hopefully Aleem is able to bring it on Monday night. But if it's not Monday night and it's week 9, fine. It is what it is. He's still going to help this team. Now, according to this other article, Aleem's not going to be able to help this team because Tyleik Williams was a huge mistake. So let me bring this in here. Is this kind of stuff that I just don't get? Like, I really don't get how these people are even able to write. Hold on here. I mean, everyone has their opinion, right? Of course. Nothing wrong with that. But this is so off base, it's not even funny. It's not even close to reality. Like, Aleem was just graded as the top rookie pass rusher, and I think that was week 6, as a defensive tackle. Yeah, I think it was PFF. But if you go back and watch the game and you go through the tape, you'll see it. You'll see what he brings to the table. The batted passes, the one thing that I really expected out of Aleem is what he's doing. All right, so here's this article, this Detroit Jock City. Now, this is by Fansided. Now, I forget who owns Fansided. I don't know if that's Sports Illustrated or whoever, but what a joke. It should be Detroit Joke City is what it should be. Tyleik Williams' draft decision already haunting the Lions. Yeah, I don't think so. Not even close. The Lions could be wishing that they had a mulligan on this draft decision. Really? Why is that? And I don't know who Chris Chad is, or Shad, whatever his name is. But yeah, let's just see what he had to say. The NFL draft has served as the foundation for the Detroit Lions renaissance over the past few years. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kirby Joseph were among those who have become pillars of the franchise after being drafted and have helped the Lions throughout their biggest run of success during the Super Bowl era. When the Lions were on the clock with the 28th overall pick in last April's draft, they believed that Tyleik Williams would be the next name to add to that list. However, the decision to take Williams was controversial, as Michigan star cornerback, oh, I see where this is going, Will Johnson was still available. This must be a U of M fan. 6 months later, that decision is already haunting the Lions and could spark a debate that would tie both players at the hip for some years to come. Will Johnson is making Lions defensive tackle Tyleik Williams look like a draft mistake. Really? Why is that? They're two totally different positions, number one. And Tyleik Williams is having an extremely good season. Well, it must be because Tyleik is an Ohio State Buckeye. Detroit had several reasons for making Williams their first-round pick. While some projected the Ohio State product outside of the first round, Williams established himself as a run-stuffing 3-technique defensive tackle with room to grow in his ability to rush the passer. Okay, so he's wrong there. He's not just a 3-technique. Tyleik is in every technique. He can play everywhere across the defensive line, and that's been evidenced in this season already. Ray Agnew said in the quote that this guy spotted here, I think there's a lot more room, a lot more growth in this kid. That's a good thing from a rookie. You don't want a guy that's reached his ceiling. You want a guy that has, a much higher ceiling and maybe a guy that has a little bit higher floor entering the league. If you got a guy that has a lower ceiling and is starting with a higher floor, that's not good because he's going to top out quickly. Tyreek definitely has room to grow. He has a ton of room to grow. Anyway, he says this kid has a lot of upside. He's got a chance to be really, really good player for us, and we're excited he was there for us. He's got a chance to be a really good run player, and I think he's underrated as a pass rusher. This kid has a chance to be a force in the middle. If you don't remember, Ali McNeil took a couple of seasons to kind of get rolling, and Tyreek was announced as a player that was potentially already better than Tyreek. So the Lions also had an immediate need. Had an immediate need in the middle of their defense. Ali McNeil tore his ACL last December and was expected to miss the opening portion of this year as he recovered. DJ Reader also had an underwhelming first season in Detroit. Well, that's kind of odd because that was his best season with sacks ever. And he also was coming back off of a torn quad. Logging 23 total tackles with 3 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. That's a pretty solid season for any defensive tackle. Again, I don't know if this guy knows football or if he's just writing for grins and giggles. The addition of Roy Lopez was viewed as a depth signing. Roy's played extremely well. And the return of Levi Onwuzurike proved the Lions with another body to lean on provided the Lions another body. Yeah, but Levi was obviously injured right away. So that made the Tyreek Williams draft even that much better because we didn't have Levi to lean on. So Onwuzurike's season-ending knee injury during training camp made the decision to draft Williams look like a smart one, as it provided the franchise with a built-in replacement at that spot. While the aspect of this selection was certainly a positive one, the injury also meant that the rookie would be thrown into the fire. I mean, that's kind of the best way you want to put a defensive tackle out there anyway. As a result, Williams has 7 pressures on 96 pass rushing snaps and 4 run stops on 86 run defense snaps, according to Pro Football Focus. But he also hasn't put himself in a position to make enough plays with a 51.3 overall grade and PFF grades. Oh, PFF grades again, right? I didn't see where he mentioned all of the batted passes. No? How many batted passes does Tyreek Williams have? Three or 4? So I get what this dude's probably trying to say here. 1, he must be a U of M fan. 2, doesn't like Ohio State, so he probably doesn't like the pick. 3, probably trying to box in the fact that we need corners right now, and taking Will Johnson would have been a better play because we need corner help right now. All right, so you don't take a player like Will Johnson unless you're going to stick him on the field immediately. The Lions already had their starting corners and safeties before the draft, right? We didn't need anything but depth. And so if you're going to take Will Johnson at 28, that would have been a huge mistake to take him when you don't need it. I mean, yeah, you could really add way too much depth to a position with some high-ranking players. But is that the smartest thing to do? I don't. I mean, that's like trying to stack the edge position, right? It's the same argument. So Tyreek Williams, I mean, PFF is only saying he has 2, but I'm pretty sure that Tyreek has at least 3. At least 3. And look at something here. Okay. And Will Johnson has 5 PBUs on the season, according to PFF. And Tyleik Williams, I know he has at least 3 batted passes. As a matter of fact, he had a couple of critical ones. It might have been in the Ravens game on that 4th down. He had a critical batted pass. So if you want to compare PBUs to batted passes, that's like the same thing, right? Pretty close. That Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle, only has 2 less PBUs, if you will, over Will Johnson. Yeah, you're definitely not going to take Will Johnson over Tyleik Williams. That just wouldn't have made any sense. And look, the story's not written for Will Johnson yet. He has a very bad injury history. You have no idea where he's going to end up. And even though Tyleik doesn't have a bad injury history, you don't know where he's going to end up. You have no idea if he's going to suffer any injuries. Not expecting it, but I think that all of those things will flush itself out over time. And that's why Will Johnson slipped in the draft, because he had the injury history. Someone remind me, where was Will Johnson finally drafted? 47, right? So mid second round. Yeah, that would have been a huge reach to take Will Johnson over Tyleik Williams, and we didn't need him. So anyway, I guess we'll just call this segment worst article on the web. Makes no sense to me. Why people have it out for people, for players like Tyleik Williams, trying to make this argument that it would have been a better pick because of hindsight. Like, if you're to go back and redraft right now, maybe you would have taken somebody different. I had Tyleik going to the Lions from day one. I had Tyleik potentially going at 33 if the Lions move back to 33 or 34, somewhere in that range, that if Tyleik was available, that they would take him. That was my play. The Lions didn't move back. I'm really surprised they didn't move back. They wanted their guy, they got him. They took him at 28. And you know what? Probably a good idea that they did. So they get that 5th year of control, right? They get that 5th year option. So smart move, especially when you're expecting Tyleik Williams to be as good, if not better, than Aleem McNeil. Now, Aleem McNeil took a couple of seasons to get going. I expect Tyleik to be way far ahead of where Aleem was in his progression throughout his career, simply because he's able to practice and play with Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader and some of the other guys, Aiden Hutchinson, right? So he has some really good guys to learn from. And I think Tyleik's done really well. Again, I don't care about the grade from PFF because it's trash. We've already gone over that today. We've already gone over that PFF's crap today. Bills wanted Tyleik. Yeah. So if we didn't take him, he was probably gone. Have a good day, Karen Z. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in today. All right. What else do I have today? It's kind of easing into my first day back, man. I don't want to get myself all dizzy. Right? I gotta change my whole diet plan too, which starts today. Got to get back on eating at a certain time. Stuff is scary, man. You're sitting here at your desk doing nothing, just research, and the lights go out. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. All right, so Lions media sessions. I was going to highlight a couple of these things, but the more I look through it, there's really nothing new yet this week. And I thought there was, but I guess there's not. Probably because we're a day late with the Monday night game. But did anybody watch Inside the Den #3? I don't even know when it was released. Did you guys see when it was released? I'm going to watch it today because I don't think I've watched this one. All right, questions, statements, things you guys want to talk about, phone calls. Honestly, I don't even have the phone thing going. I'll open it up tomorrow. So tomorrow I will obviously dive deeper into the matchup for the weekend. I do plan on making up a couple of shows potentially over the weekend, whether that is Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to make up at least one of them, and still working on a couple of guests. Oh. I don't know, maybe we'll have all 22 in tomorrow. I'll reach out to him today, see if he wants to do the thing, break it down for us. We missed a couple of weeks, which is my bad. I just got too busy. Oh, we got someone trying to call in. Hold on, buddy. I don't know who it is, but I got to get the wait, that's the wrong number. Or maybe it's not. Hold on. I got to get the phone lines open. I don't have it up. So whoever's calling right now, you got to give me 1 sec, please. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to get this set up. I'll be right back.
Yeah. On my phone was Peyton Manning. He said, Jeff, I feel your pain. Will you join me in exorcising the curse of Bobby Lane? Just like that, we started winning. Just like that, we were playoff bound. Just like that, way up in heaven, Bobby Lane turned around. Say goodbye to all that sorrow. Say goodbye to all that pain. Say goodbye. Curse of Bobby Lane. Everybody say goodbye to all that sorrow. Say goodbye to all that pain. Say goodbye to the same old life and the curse of Bobby Lane.
All right. Gotta love some Jeff Daniels here. I just gotta test this real quick. For some reason, I'm not hearing it. And get it open. It's the one thing I have not done when they reset everything and I've got all of this new stuff here to deal with. Is get this tested out. We haven't taken any calls in a while. Oh, don't hear it. I don't hear it. Oh, it's not fun. Let me check one more thing. I might not be able to do it today. I'll have to get it fixed today. Check one more thing. Yeah, it's not even showing up. It'd probably help if the volume was. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to scrap calls for today. I'll fix it as soon as we get off, but it's not even showing any volume, and I don't know why. And I've got an update pending, so I can only imagine what's gonna get all screwed up today. I don't even want to update. Anyway, questions. Yeah, so Monday, by the way, Monday I was supposed to go live from the new Hot and Now location that's just down the road from me, across from the Gun Lake Casino, and it was like 90-minute to 3-hour wait. They have like a limited menu of like 7 items. Burgers are like $3.77. The olive burger, which I really want to get. But anyway, I was struggling, so I was going to go to the ER that day. Obviously didn't end up going, but I ended up going through some treatment and some things this week. So I still have yet to go there, and I got to get there, man. Hot Now. I mean, that was such a, childhood memories for me, man. High school, when I went to high school at Wyoming Park High School, the Hot Now was just right up on 28th Street. So we had open campus. We'd always go up to Hot Now or, all the other restaurants up and down 28th Street. But it's just part of that, that childhood memory that I wonder if it all tastes the same. Like, is it different? I hope it's not different. I haven't been to Hot Now in 20 years. So I was going to go live, and I don't know if there's a comparison between In-N-Out and Hot Now cruising. That's totally different, I think, level of burger with In-N-Out. Like, In-N-Out actually has some really good meat, you know what I mean? Like, good burgers. Kind of like, what's that other one? Five Guys. They have pretty good burgers, too. I'm a big fan of the Culver's. Culver's has a good burger. Or chicken. Whatever you eat. So here's a question. It just came in. Someone asked about not having the referees being held accountable. Why is there not a system for the referees being held accountable? Why don't the officials have to talk to the media? Why are they protected? It's BS. Take them to the podium. Now that was a quote. I don't know where the quote came from, but anyway, the person said that why are the referees not held accountable? You know what's kind of weird? Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know the validity to everything that happened with the refs, but I'm pretty sure the refs are paid as contractors, right? So they're not employees of the NFL. And I think what that does, I mean, obviously, in my own business world, utilizing contractors or, 1099 employees, that you're shielded a little bit, right? They're not employees. So then your company can't really be sued for something that they do. They carry their own liability insurances and things of that nature, or their umbrella packages, to protect them from all sorts of things. So the question is, why did the NFL go to that situation? Why, if I remember correctly, it was, 5-6 years ago or whatever that the statement came out. It was because of tax purposes and something else. But why would the NFL have to worry about taxes? They make billions and billions of dollars. How many refs are there? 100? Is there about 100 refs in the league? Maybe. You got to worry about 100 employees and their taxes when you make billions? I mean, you're sending checks back to these teams every year for 3, 4, 500 million. I don't think you need to worry about a few refs making a couple $100,000 a year or whatever it is that they get paid. There's 121 refs in the league. 121. And what it says is NFL referees make an average of $205K per season, though this can range from about $100K to $150K for new officials to over $250K for experienced ones. And when you think about that, I mean, it's essentially a 6-month season. And not all of them are allowed to do postseason or Super Bowl stuff. And some of them get called in, throughout the summers to do, some training camp things. I'm not sure how that all gets paid. Maybe the teams have to pay for that. But to make, $250,000 for a 6-month, season, that's pretty good money. All right. And it's super part-time because they're not, they're traveling, between in season, but yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense at all. Does not make any sense that they're contractors. They should just be part of the NFL. Someone just put a statement in here about the union. Where was that at? Where was that? Kevin Barr says entertainment is just that, entertaining, and they have my and my family's eyeballs on Sunday. They also changed that. They also changed that too. What was that in 2015? Didn't Roger Goodell change it from? Great. I wish I had this stuff prepared. They changed it from something where they then called it an entertainment business, like WWE. Okay, in 2015, the most significant change Roger Goodell made to the NFL as an entertainment business was to voluntarily relinquish the league's tax-exempt status. The league had operated as a tax-exempt, nonprofit trade organization since the 1940s, but the status was creating a distraction. Ending it was a strategic move with several motivations. One, it reduced public scrutiny as a tax-exempt entity. Two, it enhanced images. That the move helped the league reposition itself away from a nonprofit association toward a modern, highly profitable company. Strategic business restructuring. The change allowed the league office to operate more like a for-profit corporation, streamlining its focus on maximizing revenue, and it altered everything, right? But the NFL is now an entertainment company and no longer a nonprofit organization, which, that tells you enough, right? If you believe, I know a lot of people have made these comparisons about WWE and all that stuff. Look, I don't know the first thing about WWE. I just know it's fake, right? And I know it's just a moneymaker. It is for entertainment purposes. I would have never thought that the NFL would be like that. And I'm not saying that they are, but I think to a certain degree, there's something going on. There has to be, because look, man, if it smokes, right, there's fire. And there's constant smoke in the league everywhere, every weekend. You could look at any game in this, it doesn't feel right, right? Just like in, what was that, 2022. The Lions have a crazy ending to the season, right? We go 8-2 in the final 10 games. We had an opportunity to go to the playoffs. All that we needed to happen was that the Seattle Seahawks needed to lose, and then we had to beat Green Bay. And the Seattle Seahawks were losing, And then there was a rash. I did a video on this a long time ago. There was a rash of like 6 highly questionable calls in the last couple minutes of that game that swung not only the momentum, but it swung the game into Seattle's favor every single call and put them in a position to win. And they won. And so our season was over. And then we go in and beat the snot out of the Packers. Nobody wanted to play that defense that year. Nobody. That defense was playing at such a high level, and our offense just started to click. So, I feel like as a Lions fan, we've seen it too many times. We've always been the butt end of everybody's jokes or the butt end of the NFL. It gets old. It really does. It gets old. And, I'm not going to get up here and pound my chest and get all huffy puffy and crash out on it. Yeah, there's some days that I will. There's some days that I want to. I just haven't done it a whole lot. Partly because I think a lot of you'd be like, wow, that's a different side of Will. I mean, it's in me. There's a lot of reactions that I have. I'm trying to stay a little bit more calm and cool and collected, about the whole thing and just try to provide as much facts as I can. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an actor. You know what I mean? What you're going to get from me is going to be real. So if and when it does happen, it's real. It is what it is. I will tell you, in a game, watching the game, I'm a totally different person. Like, I'm very animated and not happy about a lot of things that go on in the game. You can see it, right? You can see what's going on. You can see what's happening or about to happen, and then it does. And I guess that makes it even more worse. So, anyway, it's 10 o'clock. I can't believe I made it 2 hours after taking a couple of days off. Not the greatest show today, but it's the first day back. Feeling a little bit better. Obviously, I'll be back tomorrow. And like I said, I'm going to try to get a makeup show in this weekend. I'll get some more content rolling today. Do not forget, please, email me at mailbag@rockdown.com. I am going to make a new screen because I need to get this stuff back up on the screen. Mailbag@rockdown.com. You can email your gripes and hype, your questions, content that you would like done. I did see a couple of emails for some content that people wanted done. I'll try to work on it today. So you can email me at mailbag@rockdown.com on Thursday nights or Wednesday nights typically, but Thursday nights when we have a Monday night game, Wednesday nights when we have a Sunday game, we do gripes and hype. So that's what tonight will be about. You send in your questions, you send in your ideas, your statements, whatever that you want to air, you want off your chest. I'll get phone lines fixed for tonight because I want tonight mostly about you calling in. So that's what this show is about on the night show, is for you guys to call in and tell the rest of the world what you think, right? That's what that show is all about. If we can't get people to call in, I probably just won't do the show because that's what it's for. So we'll give it a couple more weeks and see if we can get some people to call in and have some good conversation. Outside of that, the phone number to the show, it'll be listed tonight, but it's 313-podcast. 313-podcast, otherwise known as 313-763-2278. Make sure you lock that in. That's not changing. So lock that email in. Lock the phone number in. And going back to the 80 votes on, do you believe the play calling could be better for the Detroit Lions? 91% said yes. I'm surprised. I am. But at the same time, I'm glad that we see, at least 80 of us probably see, things the same way. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day, man. Keep rolling. Tampa's up next. We're going to win. They're back at home. We have not lost 2 games in a row, and I can't tell you how long. It is not going to start this weekend or next week, Monday. It's not going to start then. So, unfortunately, Baker Mayfield is going to come into a situation where you have a very pissed off football team, and he's going to catch the tail end of it. So, all right, you guys, have a good day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Pressured by Hutchinson.